Thank you, and welcome to the Seventh Evan podcast. I am your host, Evan Myers. You can follow me on Twitter at 7th Evan. Follow the show on Instagram at 7th Evan Pod. Share with a friend, with a family member, anybody, really anybody, that you can convince to listen. Give it a share. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play. We are everywhere. Well, pretty much everywhere. We have a great show planned for you today. As I record this, it is the day after 4th of July. That is Independence Day in the United States. It was weird. I have soured on 4th of July. It used to be my favorite holiday. And not just because it was pro-American, so to speak. It's not because of the history behind it. I always liked that it was, a chance for everybody to just sort of go out, barbecue, do some day drinking in the nice summer heat. Eat pulled pork or hot dogs, ribs, and just chill. I've always liked that. It's what I kind of like about Thanksgiving. I don't love Thanksgiving food. Not a big turkey guy. But I like that it's a holiday where, we're going to hang out, maybe throw on the football games, eat, and chill. I like that in a holiday. Halloween, there's a lot of weird pressure. I always liked Halloween as a kid because you got to wear like cool costumes. Now it's like when you're an adult, you're like, all right, I've got to go I'm going to get trash, like drunk. I'm going to go blackout in a bar, dressed like a fucking stormtrooper. It's just, I don't know. The magic is lost in my mind as a single adult. Maybe if you have kids and you get to dress them up, I'm sure that's probably better. But Halloween, Christmas is cool, but I find myself wanting less and less possessions. Gifts are always nice, but I'm like, I guess, new socks and underwear, that's always cool. Maybe some clothing really is the only thing I truly enjoy. Household items. It's gotten boring. When I was a kid, it was like, oh, here's this toy that I've wanted, some Legos or Playmobil or G.I. Joes, maybe a video game. But now I'm an adult, so I can get video games on a credit card. It's the magic has waned. Valentine's Day is a fucking scam put on by Hallmark. So I don't fucking care about that. St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo, these are just reasons to get drunk. So to me, it's like, I don't know. I do that anyways. I don't need a holiday to justify alcoholism. I don't need, they're fun. They are fun. I will say they are fun because Cinco de Mayo, you're just going to go get margaritas somewhere. And, St. Patrick's Day, you're going to go to some shitty bar. And, it is an excuse to day drink. That's cool. But it's not really, I don't know. I think those are just sort of secondary to me. I can do without them. Memorial Day, I'm sure that's cool if you have some plans, but it's like everything's crowded. Everybody's going taking their boat out somewhere, and I'm just like, fucking, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand why. And then it's like for dead troops, so we're like celebrate. We're treating it like it's the 4th of July and it's for people who died in war. So I don't know. Like when I grew up, we would have the main thing I would do when I was a kid for Memorial Day was my church would have like a picnic thing, and that was fun cuz it's like a potluck, and you're out in the grass and whatnot, and yeah, that was fine. But as I haven't had a good Memorial Day since then. It's just always just been it's like it's a Monday off. I don't know, like maybe if you're a guy who you own a fucking jet skis or some shit, whatever. I mean, I guess I don't know. Boats to me, they're just. It's nice when a friend has one, but it's a lot of fucking work. It's a lot of work. And then you got all these drunk people out on the water, and I don't know. Just seems excessive. Labor Day, I don't understand the point of Labor Day. I don't think that workers should be celebrated. Like what do you? Oh, I clocked in this year. I'm a hero. No, you're not. And by the way, the only people that actually get Labor Day off are government employees, students, and fucking bankers. That's it. Like normal people have to, like when I worked, my first job was in a grocery store, never had Labor Day off. And we were literally the ones doing labor, So you see that, and it's like, all right, but this is a bullshit. You're not even doing it right. So maybe if it was like, hey, all the workers, like nothing's going to be open, fucking chill, we'll take this down. But it's not that way. It's all the bottom feeders are still working unless you're in the teachers union or some bullshit. So Labor Day can fuck off. So holidays, New Year's Eve is always like by the time New Year's Eve rolls around, I'm like, I just want winter to be over, but there's still 2 more months of this bullshit. So New Year's Eve is just like, it's either like if you go in with the right attitude, it's like, okay, January 1st, fresh start, and that's fine. Otherwise, all you're doing is the passing of time. You're just celebrating the passing of time. And that's, to me, depressing. So I always want to kill myself on New Year's Eve. These are jokes, people. Don't take these seriously. But I do want to kill myself on New Year's Eve. So Independence Day, I always liked the 4th of July because I could go. It was sort of like the Memorial Day part of it, except in the middle of summer, and it's not celebrating people dying in war per se, although I guess it's part of it. And it's not, oh, we're going out on the boat. I mean, that could be part of it, but it's just not. It's Memorial Day, but more of a celebration of freedom, of liberty, of our country. So I always liked 4th of July. And when I was a kid, I grew up in a mobile home, and where it was is that it was pretty close to the where they would light off the fireworks at the sports park nearby, over by the soccer fields and all that. And we would go up on the roof and, hang out up there and watch the fireworks. Best seats in the house. And I have never really been. The only thing that comes close to that to me is just doing your own fireworks. If I have to go get a lawn chair and fucking park somewhere, I'm out. I don't care. So I don't know, but I'm down on the 4th of July because I don't know if you've noticed this. The past 2 years have not exactly been an exemplary standard of liberty and freedom. People were forced to close their businesses. People were not allowed to go to church. People were not allowed to peacefully assemble. Very basic aspects of being an American. Like the bare minimum of what America has to offer, we could not do in much of the country for effectively bullshit reasons. So I find myself sort of numb to patriotism now. I find myself going, what are we celebrating here? What are we looking at and saying this is good? And I know people, if you're on the left, you're going to be like, well, now you know how black people feel. No, stop it. I understand being cynical about the U.S. There's plenty of reasons to be cynical about your country. For example, in my own lifetime, the war in Iraq. I imagine if you, during the war in Iraq, were opposed to the war in Iraq, I imagine the 4th of July may have been unpleasant. That being said, you were still free. Even if we were doing bad shit, you, the person, which is really all that matters, right? Like we act like, everybody likes to act like their politics and their beliefs are about other people, and it's really all politics is selfish. Or at least most of it is. And you can hold two thoughts. You can say, I believe in capitalism because I believe capitalism is the best for all people and all, poor, rich, straight, gay, white, black, purple. I love it when they throw that one in. I don't care if you're white or black or purple. I'm like, who the fuck is purple? Anywho. It's easy to be cynical. I'm sure it's easy to be cynical about your country at any given time. That's totally reasonable. But I also think there's just people who they're angry on behalf of others, supposedly upon other people's behalf. And that's fundamentally a lie. Everybody has their beliefs for whatever reason, and it's usually personality, right? People go, this is one of the more mind-blowing things in my existence, and we'll talk about him a little bit later, but Jordan Peterson, in one of his lectures that I listened to several years ago, he brought up that, conservatives like borders, and not necessarily in a literal sense, but just order. They want order. They want everything sort of has its place. And liberals there's a little bit, it's more borderless. They kind of mix. They're kind of like, well, not everything really has its place, and maybe it should be over here, and maybe there shouldn't be these divisions in order that we have. So it's actually sort of a personality thing. There's liberal is often a personality. Conservative is often a personality. And so we kind of work from there on our deep psychological level, and we work backwards. And we say, I want, if I'm pro-life, well, that is often a result of, there's people who do it for religious reasons or believe it because of religious reasons. And there's people who have it for philosophical reasons or whatever. But it's often in the sense of, in your mind, this act is wrong for whatever reason. So you can rationalize all the reasons it's wrong, with faith, without faith, whatever. If you're a person who hates guns, it's more the feeling you have is that you don't want people to own guns for whatever reason. But then you work backwards and you go, well, I think, and it's really like, well, and everybody does this. It's a fundamental, the reason I'm thinking about this is I saw I believe it was Michael Tracy, the journalist on Twitter the other day, talking about how annoying it was that most pro-lifers just won't acknowledge that it's just about God for them. And they just care it's just about God, and they don't say that, so, just it's annoying. And I'm like, well, first off, that's everybody. Everybody has their initial feeling about something, and maybe you spend some time thinking about it, but in reality, it's mostly that you think about ways to rationalize your feeling. And, that's where I think that's where people, it's easy for an atheist or a non-believer to go, oh, well, I've come to this conclusion with rationality. And it's like, it's your rationality. It's yours. It's not like you didn't discover this argument. You didn't discover this belief system. It's that you have a belief and you have found reasons. You have found reasons to justify that belief. And there was a back and forth between him and John Gabriel, who's an excellent Twitter follow. And I like Michael Tracy too, but sometimes when he's wrong, he's just fucking wrong, and he's kind of annoying about it. But all in all, good journalist and does a lot of good work. But, John Gabriel's point was, I can believe both my faith and the logic, and that's true. That's the thing, you can believe the rationalization. And his point was, I can't, if the Bible's not going to work with you, I'm going to find the other way. Now I don't want to misquote John Gabriel, but the idea being that if I'm dealing with a secular person, I can't just approach them with scripture because they go, that doesn't matter to me. I don't subscribe to that belief system. It'd be the same way if I was getting in an argument with somebody and they were a Scientologist and they said, well, according to my beliefs, I'd be like, well, I don't care because I'm not a Scientologist because I'm not an idiot, or something along those lines. Something. And the truth is that we're all sort of in this, we all like to think that we are these original beings and we were just gifted with these thoughts and these beliefs. But the reality is that you're actually standing on the shoulders of generations of people who have thought about this for centuries. And you're just picking up where they left off. We have the benefit of that. And our kids and their kids and their kids will, generation upon generation, will build upon what we've built upon, assuming we don't get all wiped out and start over as cavemen, which wouldn't be the worst thing. I mean, it would be the worst thing, but it wouldn't be the worst thing for humanity. It'd be the worst thing for us. It would not be the worst thing for humanity. A fresh start. But my point is that everybody does this. We can all have our own viewpoints at any given moment and for any given reason. But there are things that I think become blatantly obvious that it's no longer really about opinion, or if you're welcome to have an opinion on it, but if it's wrong, then you're wrong. You're just wrong. So in my mind, the mandates, the lockdowns were undoubtedly the greatest assault on liberty in this country since slavery. And that's a bold statement, but I would really like to see somebody tell me why I'm wrong. Japanese internment camps were undoubtedly more evil, but it was on a small scale. It only affected one group of people. That's not a justification. Let's be clear. That is not justification for it. And it was disgusting and undoubtedly evil how we treated American citizens as a result of our hysteria and perhaps racism. But the mandates, the lockdowns, people losing their jobs, people were not allowed to attend church on Easter Sunday. That's a fundamental right. And we said, sorry, no thanks. Now, I could go and buy marijuana in a small room on Easter Sunday with probably 50 people packed in there. I could do that recreationally, not even medicinally, recreationally. That was fine. You could not go to church in California on Easter Sunday. That one is egregious. We had hospitals telling people, you're going to have to say goodbye to your parents through a window. I don't care if you're in your 40s and healthy with 0% body fat. You have to say goodbye to your parents through a window. George Floyd had multiple funerals. Elijah Cummings had multiple funerals. The people who were allowed, the elite ruling class who were allowed to continue on with their lives, Lori Lightfoot could go and get haircuts because, well, I'm the mayor and I got to look good. I care about my hygiene, I believe was her reason. Yeah, like we don't. Now, fortunately, I'm going bald and I cut my own hair, so that didn't affect me. But assuming you're like most people who goes and gets your hair cut, the thought that a mayor who's instituting lockdowns can get her own speakeasy haircut, but if you do it, or if your barber or hairdresser gives you the treatment your hair needs, we're going to shut them down and we're going to fine them. And we might even jail them. We told children that who are at essentially zero risk of the virus, statistically, the least vulnerable group to a mild illness. We said, sorry, you can't see your friends. You're going to have to sit at home and watch your teacher on Zoom. I don't care if you're 5 years old, you're going to have to figure this out. And when you're going to be, even if you are trying to develop and learn how to speak and to enunciate and to communicate, we're going to all wear masks around you. So you're going to completely miss out on those prime years of development. Because, I mean, still don't really know why without assuming evil intention. So in short, the examples of this goes on and on and on. But my point being, in short, is these last 2 years have been the absolute worst assault on human rights and liberty in American history since slavery. So, excuse me if I'm not celebrating independence, because I don't feel independence. I don't feel liberty. And I see the irony in people who were staying home and not going out and not seeing their friends and family when they go around and parade in an American flag and pretend like nothing happened. To me, it's like we all witnessed a crime. It's like our friend raped a woman, and we all just agreed to just go, well, that didn't happen. On to the next thing. And it's like, no, 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 no. We don't move on from this. There's no moving on. There's people who still aren't leaving their homes. There's people who walk around in gas masks. We don't know the damage that this has done to children. We have no clue the extent. We will not find out for a generation the complete and total damage that the lockdowns and masking did to children. We will not know the full extent of that. Many of us will live and die and not see that completely into fruition. So for me, celebrating America right now, I have a hard time doing that. I don't care. You can judge me. Oh man, well, what about what black people have to go through? What about Middle Easterners, Muslims, blah blah blah? Fuck off. That's not to say that their criticisms aren't legitimate. It's not. It's you're talking about fractional, minor infractions. You're talking about the injustice that happened to George Floyd is not the same. It's not equal. I don't care if you're emotional about it. If you're an emotional person and you see that and somehow that personally affects you, oh my God, that is just happening. Another police brutality. I just like, okay. Because those are just little sidebars in life. There is injustice. That is true. The world will never be just. We can aspire for justice. We can try for justice. The world will never be just because we occupy it. We, who are flawed and unjust people, will continue to be unjust. However, when you cause widespread suffering and pain that crosses all cultures, all boundaries, borders, on a global scale, literally, but in our country as well, for no fucking reason. That is undoubtedly worse than individual cases of racism or individual cases of infractions. I'm saying this as someone who despises the Patriot Act. Okay? The Patriot Act has undoubtedly caused infractions upon people's liberty. And it's disgusting when that happens, and the consequences of which will only get worse. But these are not, me having to take my shoes off at the airport sucks. The TSA sucks. All of those guys suck. All the alphabet agencies can suck my balls. That being said, that did not destroy the development of children. That did not destroy the economy. That did not put people out of business. That did not cause mass suicides, drug addiction. That's the injustice rumbling beneath the surface that occasionally bursts in small bursts here and there. And undoubtedly the cost is great. But this was a universal cost. It affected everybody. And some people made billions of dollars off of it. And to a lesser extent, some people made millions of dollars off of it. I don't know what to do with those people. And if I say what I think should happen to those people, I don't want fucking cops knocking on my door, okay? The reality is that there should be trials and there should be punishment if we're concerned about justice. But we really aren't. So my optimism is low. But I did celebrate Independence Day as best as I could. I hung out with some family. We lit off some fireworks, ate some great food. That's always the fun thing, is you just kind of hang out and enjoy it, because that's good regardless if you're free or not. But the pride I had in my country that I might have used to have is evaporated. It's non-existent. So, and that doesn't mean I'm black-pilled. I want to be clear. I have optimism about the future, but I do not have optimism about my country. And so for me, when I saw all the Instagram posts about, and all the people being all, oh yeah, America, I'm just like, fuck off. You're just like, for what? What are you proud of? This decrepit man that we've put in the White House who can barely string a sentence together? Is that what we have to look forward to? I don't know. It's wildly frustrating to me. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the moment. It doesn't mean you can't appreciate the time in which you're in. So hanging out with family whom I haven't seen in a while, eating great food, enjoying a fine whiskey, Buffalo Trace. You can enjoy, you can separate that, because that is actually meaningful. The relationships you have are far more meaningful than the country you live in, as it pertains to your life. Your friends, your family, your husband, your wife, your kids, those things matter infinitely more than whoever's in the White House or whatever. You can't base your happiness on politics. And if you're looking for injustice, you will never cease to find it. So, I did celebrate the 4th of July. I did not celebrate independence. And on that depressing note, let me carry on to something a little more lighthearted. According to People magazine, Elliot Page reveals he's on first dating app ever thanks to Umbrella Academy co-star Ritu Arya. Ritu Arya. The 35-year-old actor shared he is looking for love via an app Thursday. Elliot Page is looking for love. The 35-year-old actor is on his first dating app, the star revealed on his Instagram story Thursday, as captured by Entertainment Tonight. Sharing a photo of him lying on a bed with Ritu Arya, 28, he credited his Umbrella Academy co-star for, quote, guiding me on my first dating app ever. The Juno star has been quiet about his love life after he separated from Emma Portner in January 2021 after 3 years of marriage. In a statement shared with People, the former couple announced they had decided divorce after being estranged for a number of months. Quote, after much thought and careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision to divorce following our separation last summer. they said at the time. We have the utmost respect for each other and remain close friends. They first announced their surprise marriage just after New Year's in 2018. Let me tell you what a true surprise is, finding out that your lesbian wife is a man. So, I mean, surprise marriage, that takes it to another level. Continuing on, in December 2020, when Page publicly announced he was trans, Portner wrote a loving and supportive Instagram post. That was me, not the article. I think I had a stroke. A supportive Instagram post. Quote, I am so proud of Elliot Page. Trans, queer, and non-binary people are a gift to this world. I also ask for patience and privacy, but that you join me in the fervent support of trans life every single day. Elliot's existence is a gift in and of itself. Shine on, sweet E. Love you so much, Portner wrote. I love that. If you're going to get a divorce in Hollywood, the best thing you can do is come out as trans, because then your spouse can't say shit. You can't do the Johnny Depp. That's what Johnny Depp should have done. He should have said, I'm a woman, and Amber Heard would have had to be like, all right, well, I can't say that sorry. I can't say that she's a problem. I can't Me Too her, Johnny, because that would be career suicide. So it's good. I think this was a brilliant career move on Elliot's part. In April 2021, Page told Vanity Fair he's known he's a boy since he was a small child. Quote, all trans people are so different. Tell me about it. And my story's absolutely just my story. But yes, when I was a little kid, absolutely, 100%, I was a boy, Page said in a feature interview. I knew I was a boy when I was a toddler. That's, I think it's funny. I do think that's funny. It's like, I knew this when I was a toddler. I don't remember being a toddler. Do you remember being a toddler? Anywho. I was writing fake love letters and signing them Jason. Every little aspect of my life, that is who I was, who I am, and who I knew myself to be. Well, all right. I just couldn't understand when I'd be told, no, you're not. No, you can't be that when you're older, he recalled. You feel it. Now I'm finally getting myself back to feeling like who I am, and it's so beautiful and extraordinary, and there's a grief to it in a way. That's weird. There's a grief to it in a way, huh? Well, I'm glad Elliot's on the dating apps. Let me tell you, it is oddly frustrating when you are on Tinder or Bumble and the trans person rolls in, and I'm like, come on now. Like, what are you doing? You know, like it's like you're trying to trick people here, and it's not, it's just not right. I don't understand why. It's if you want to be the third category, that doesn't really bother me. It's when you insist on forcing yourself into the other group because you've known since you were a toddler. Okay. And going on dating apps and saying that you're a woman when you're not, this is not cool. I don't think that's, I mean, if a guy lies about his height, that's not cool. Or if somebody's posted photos of them from 10 years ago and they look super thin and then they roll in and they're bald and they're 50 pounds overweight, that's catfishing. That is catfishing. So, I don't know. It is, the dating app thing is funny because it's like you're acting like it's this big step, but you're just horny. You're just horny. This isn't an achievement. Everybody's on there because they're horny. When did coming become a virtue? Someone should study that. On the Elliot Page topic, Jordan Peterson says he'd rather die than delete tweet dead naming Elliot Page. This is from the Daily Dot. Jordan Peterson is throwing another tantrum on Twitter. I do like how people perceive things. Like, here's this writer. His name's David Cavucci. If somebody is on Twitter and they're saying stuff you don't like, you call it a tantrum. It's a very interesting angle. So when they start at, let me just say this. If you start out with your article with Jordan Peterson is throwing another tantrum on Twitter, I will presume that you are not capable of giving me an accurate report on what happened. The self-help podcast guru who just signed a deal with the Daily Wire is known for making bold, headline-raising proclamations about his internet use and then backing off. So it's likely this is more of the same. Nevertheless, Peterson said he'd rather die than delete a tweet that misgenders actor Elliot Page. Peterson, who previously quit Twitter, he returned and never addressed it, was suspended for dead naming Elliot Page and criticizing the physician who helped him transition. By the way, 2 points here. 3 points. One, they don't have the actual tweet displayed here. Why do you not display the original tweet? They just describe it. Oh, he dead named Elliot Page. So he was suspended. I don't, they say that like that's supposed to explain it. Just show the tweet, unless you're scared that doing that will affect your reach for your article. Then just say that. Hey, we'd love to display it, but Twitter might fucking kill us. Kill our account, I should say. Twitter might suspend us. All right, then you're scared. Okay, then just say you're scared. The second point, Peterson, who previously quit Twitter, he returned and never addressed it. Just because somebody didn't... this is why journalists are fucking morons. It's either stupid or liar, in the words of Adam Carolla. Either you're stupid or a liar. Peterson absolutely addressed this. You had to listen to his podcast. They just go on his Twitter and they go, oh, he quit and he's back. Oh, he never addressed it. Well, some people do things outside of Twitter. There's other mediums. There's YouTube. There's Spotify. There's Google Play. There's iTunes. Anywhere you can find podcasts, such as the Seventh Heaven podcast, people put out content elsewhere. It's not just on Twitter. Fuck, most people aren't even on Twitter. And most people who are on Twitter don't make up many of the tweets. So imagine, if you will, the possibility that he might have addressed it elsewhere. And guess what he did? So if you're interested in that, you can seek it out. Otherwise, you're a hack. This person is either stupid or a liar. Either they know he addressed it and they're just going to pretend he didn't, or they're too fucking lazy to actually do the research. Mr. Cavucci. Third point, dead naming. I like how they just call it dead naming without giving you a definition of this term. It's a fascinating insight when they take things as a given. Here's this new term, dead naming. It has not been in our public vernacular for very long. Most people don't know what dead naming is. Go and tell a boomer what dead naming is. Ask them, do you know what dead naming is? They won't know unless they're very much online. Most of them aren't. So go run it by your boomer parents. Hey, do you know what dead naming is? Odds are they won't know what that means. So if they don't know what that means, maybe you, the fucking writer, should offer a definition rather than just casually throwing it out there like everybody knows. But I will give you a definition because I'm not an asshole. Dead naming is when you use somebody's previous name before they started identifying as another gender. So Elliot Page, who used to be named Ellen Page, if you called Elliot Ellen, you are dead naming them. Anywho, I hate that term. I really hate that term. First off, Ellen didn't die. It's such a loaded phrase. It's not like, this is the social psychology, the people who go, oh, microaggressions and fucking, they come up with all this lingo and they try to make it as scientific as possible without actually doing anything to do with fucking science. Latin X. These dumb fucking phrases that they use. They go, oh, we have it all figured out. See, our social sciences prove this. And it's like, no. You're an activist and you're dressing it up with flowery language that is designed to confuse people. So when they call it dead naming, it's actually a moral judgment on the act of calling someone by their previous name. This is really, it's loaded. And quite frankly, it shows in my mind that you're coming at it with a bias in the same way as saying that Jordan Peterson is throwing another tantrum on Twitter, Mr. Cavucci. You are revealing that you think that Jordan Peterson is in the wrong for this act. And I saw some tweets, people I respect who are like, well, I don't agree with dead naming because that's just not fair. And they've chosen a new name. It's like, first off, if I know you for a reason, like you start in Juno as Ellen Page, and then you decide, you know what, everybody call me Elliot, I may or may not accommodate you. That depends on how I feel about you and how much I really care about your feelings. Some years ago, Prince changed his name to a symbol that nobody could pronounce. So everybody had to call him the artist formerly known as Prince. And everybody thought he was an asshole. I know there's all this false I'm blanking on the term, but and I'm sure if you're listening, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but we've sort of recreated this history that everybody just loved Prince. Fucking everybody hated Prince because he was a fucking douchebag who changed his name to a stupid fucking sign, and people started going, the artist formerly known as Prince, and then it became, oh yeah, the artist formerly known as Prince. Go. And everybody made fun of it, and then he changed his name back. It wasn't cool. It was a douchebag move. It's a way for an uninteresting person to give themselves interesting creations about themselves. It's like a guy who always wears a headband. Like, you're not fucking cool. You just decided at some point, I'm going to be the guy who wears a headband. And that was that. You're not a pirate. You're just a guy with a headband. So Elliot Page, who spent by the way, nothing Elliot has done as a performer is equal to what Ellen did as a performer in Juno or whatever. All of Ellen Page's roles that made her famous That's what we know Elliot for. We know them for Ellen's work. And that's not to say Elliot can't have a career unto himself, but you made yourself known as Ellen. So the fact that I now have to change that in order to accommodate you is a douchebag move. It's the same thing as Prince. You're just being a douchebag. The fact that you want everybody to change the way they address you is a douchebag move. It's narcissism. And people are equating it to just like, oh, like it's like a regular name change. No, it's not. If you start a new job and you go into that workplace, and let's say your name's John, but you want to go by JT, and nobody knows you, and you fill out your application as JT, and you tell everybody your name's JT, that's fine, because they don't know you as John. But I've had friends where all of a sudden you're out of high school and they go, oh, I want to be called this. And I'm like, no, I've known you since we were kids. I'm not going to start calling you by your full name or this or that. I'm not, your name is this. That is our relationship. We all know this, like in The Office. There's the scene where Andy Bernard comes back from counseling, anger management, and he says, oh, I'm Drew now. I'm Drew. And it's like, no, you don't get to be Drew. You're Andy. We know you as Andy. And Jim Halpert makes the point, okay, Andy. And he's pissed off. And that's the point. You don't get to jump in. Go get a new fucking job and tell everybody your name's Drew if that's what you want to be called, Drew. I'm not obligated to change my language. The fact that I'm occupying any brain space in remembering your name is an achievement in and of itself. And quite frankly, the narcissism that I now have to completely rearrange that, fuck off. This is not the same. If you want to change your name, change it upon people who don't know your name. But if you're a celebrity, we know who you are. So that's it. Anyways, back to the article. In response to the suspension on Instagram, Peterson boldly stated he was putting his life on the line over this. Oh, man, I do like that. That's the interpretation. No, he said he would rather die. He didn't say he was putting his life on the line over this. Quote, the suspension will not be lifted unless I delete the hateful tweet in question. And I would rather die than do that, Peterson says in a 14-minute video in which he breaks down every single word in his tweet. Peterson last left Twitter after getting upset that the newest Sports Illustrated swimsuit model wasn't attractive enough for him. He returned several months later. She was morbidly obese. Again, look at how they phrase it. Oh, it wasn't attractive enough for him. It wasn't attractive enough for fucking anybody. And everybody's like, oh, am I the only guy that finds this person beautiful? Okay. You're a fucking hero. Here you go, fucking hero. You're a fucking hero. You're better than all of us. This is great. Peterson's Waterloo, however pointlessly quixotic it may be. Oh, God. That's a word I see. That's a word I read, quixotic. Let's learn a word today, guys. I'm going to Google this. I'm going to see what that means. Because I love it when they throw in these words. This is the essential feature of midwits, is that they go, well, if I throw in this really big word, that'll prove that my journalism degree was worth something. Quixotic, caught up in the romance of noble deeds and the pursuit of unreachable goals, idealistic without regard to practicality, capricious, impulsive. Like Don Quixote, romantic to extravagance, prone to pursue unrealizable goals, absurdly chivalric, apt to be deluded. See also quixotism. So with that in mind, Peterson's Waterloo, however pointlessly quixotic it may be, has inspired others. Dave Rubin, another right-wing figure in Peterson's milieu. Okay. See, this is now he has to prove, hey guys, I'm smart because I've got these two words. Let's Google this, guys. We're learning words today, boys. I assume there's some ladies listening, but let's not get too there. Milieu. Hold on. I'm going to play the audio here.
Milieu. Milieu.
Milieu.
Milieu.
Milieu.
Milieu.
Thank you. The physical or social setting in which something occurs or develops. Okay. You can't just say that Dave Rubin, another right-wing figure in Peterson's circle. Was that too fucking hard? David Cavucci. By the way, Dave Rubin being considered right-wing. This is what I love about the fucking corporate media is they say shit like this. Dave Rubin, another figure, another right-wing figure. No. Dave Rubin is not, I guess he's a former progressive, sort semi-conservative. Like, if you think Dave Rubin is right-wing, you are in for a rude awakening. And by the way, this is what people do when they want you to not listen to guys and to write them off. They call them right-wing or homophobe or racist or transphobe. They just give you these labels. And it's laughable because if anybody knows anything about fucking anything, they know that Dave Rubin isn't right-wing, and he's certainly not a figure for right-wingers. One, he's Jewish. Do right-wingers like Jews? A true hard right-winger. Not fucking, oh, this guy's an anarchist or some shit like that. I mean, if you're sitting in there as a true right-winger, do you like gay Jews who used to be full-blown progressive Democrats? Like, Dave Rubin is the least right-wing of all the right-wingers. He's probably to the left of Mitt Romney. So if he's right-wing, man, like, you're in for a fucking rude awakening. So Dave Rubin, another right-wing figure in Peterson's oh, God. Why do they always do this? Another right-wing figure in Peterson's milieu. Another one. Was suspended as well for posting about the situation. Rubin's suspension is fostering outrage among his cohorts. Cohorts. Like they're cohorts. I mean, again, language, people. Study the language. Who are claiming he was suspended for merely reporting the matter, even though he intentionally also used Page's dead name in his post. The post, Jordan Peterson says he'd rather die than deleting dead naming Elliot Page, appeared first on the Daily Dot. Well, thank you, David Cavucci. It's funny, they don't post the tweets. Neither of the tweets have been posted. All they say is, well, he dead named him. That alone is, I don't need to explain what dead naming means. I don't need to justify or explain why they may believe what they believe. I don't have to listen to their argument. I can take one quote in a 14-minute video and then say, hey, this guy's an idiot. You don't need to listen to him. And it must work on people. It must work on the fucking idiots. For some reason. It's wildly frustrating. I'm not going to read the tweets because I don't care to read them. This isn't about any of that. It's more about I don't want to look them up right now. We're an hour into the show. And I honestly thought that the articles would have them, or at least a link to them. They don't have them. Even the Fox News, I have a Fox News one up, and it doesn't have the tweet. So it's both the Daily Dot and Fox News are both avoiding the tweets in question. They just want to tell you, oh, this is what he did, and then we move on. You're just reporting what happened on Twitter. Show me the fucking tweet. There are screenshots. Put the screenshot there, and I can judge for myself. But they don't. Peterson said nothing wrong, in my mind, because it was accurate. And his 14-minute video is epic. So give that a listen. But dead naming bothers me. It bothers me because there's this, like, it's a self-hatred term. It's so it reeks of self-hatred and self-resentment. Like, it's a curse on the name Ellen. It's a curse on Ellen Page. I mean, it's just nonsense. It's just gross. It's gross that people would turn that on themselves like that. I don't know. It's frustrating. So, on to the next story. This one's from Fox News. Brittany Griner's coach on Russian detention. Quote, if it was LeBron, he would be home, right? Brittany Griner sent a letter to the White House on imploring the Biden administration to bring her and other American detainees home. By Ryan Gatos, Fox News. Brittany Griner's coach, Vanessa Nygaard, suggested Monday that the WNBA superstar's clout may be a factor in why there is not more of an urgency to get her out of a Russian jail. Nygaard said that before the team's game against the Los Angeles Sparks, if LeBron James had been locked up abroad, the Lakers superstar would have been home by now. Huh, interesting. Quote, if it was LeBron, he would be home, right? She asked. It is a statement about the value of women. It is a statement about the value of a black person. It is a statement about the value of a gay person. All of those things, and we know it. And so that's what hurts a little more. First off, LeBron is black and gay, so I don't know why. Well, he is black. So I love how they're using this. This is about black people, but LeBron would be home. What? You couldn't go with fucking the Joker? How about that fucking white boy down in Dallas? You couldn't have gone with him? You had to pick the black guy and then go, it's about being black. I don't know. LeBron would probably be home by now because he's a fuck ton more money because he's a billionaire. So that's probably what would play into LeBron's hands. And also, yes, nobody cares about the WNBA. I don't know how much you need us to tell you this. The ratings tell you this. The fact that you have no fucking money tells you this. The fact that you need the NBA to prop you up tells you this. And yet you're still going on about, oh, women, gay, black. I mean, well, a lot of fucking black guys in the NBA and people seem to watch that. So maybe it's not about being black. Maybe it's about the fact that women's basketball kind of fucking sucks. Sorry. That's the facts. And I don't like basketball. I know this because all the people I know who watch basketball don't watch women's basketball. So you're just going to have to fucking deal with that. Nygaard, who's in her first season as the Mercury's head coach, said Griner's letter to the White House made her cry. Quote, it's great she was able to get this message to us, and hopefully some people are paying attention to it, she added. Griner's letter was delivered to the White House on Monday. She wanted to make sure the President, Joe Biden, and the rest of his administration do not, quote, forget about me and other American detainees in Russia. Griner's letter was passed to the White House through her representatives. Though most of the content remained private, her representatives shared some excerpts. Quote, as I sit here in a Russian prison, alone with my thoughts and without protection of my wife, family, friends, Olympic jersey, okay, or any accomplishments, I'm terrified I might be here forever, the WNBA superstar wrote. On the 4th of July, our family normally honors the service of those who fought for our freedom, including my father, who's a Vietnam War veteran. It hurts thinking about how I usually celebrate this day because freedom means something completely different to me this year. Again, I don't buy that. Okay, this woman has routinely trashed the U.S. I doubt that she normally is celebrating the 4th of July. Griner pleaded with Biden to use his presidential powers to ensure her return. She was arrested in February for allegedly bringing vape cartridges containing oils derived from cannabis through a Moscow airport. Quote, please do all you can do to bring us home. I voted for the first time in 2020, and I voted for you. Well, that was your first mistake, bitch. I believe in you. I still have so much good to do with my freedom that you can help restore, the letter read in part. I miss my wife. I miss my family. I miss my teammates. It kills me to know they're suffering so much right now. I am grateful for whatever you can do at this moment to get me home. The White House National Security Council confirmed the White House received Griner's letter. Quote, we believe the Russian Federation is wrongfully detaining Brittany Griner, NSC spokeswoman Adrian Watson said Monday. President Biden has been clear about the need to see all U.S. nationals who are held hostage or wrongfully detained abroad released, including Brittany Griner. The U.S. government continues to work aggressively using every available means to bring her home. Well, that's nice. This is laughable. You voted for Joe Biden. The man's a skeleton. He's barely hanging on. He's not in charge. Our country is run by committee right now. He's just the guy they put things in front of to sign shit. This is what you wanted. You made proclamations that Donald Trump was a racist, that he hated black people and women and gays. He's just so full of hate. So you went all in on the guy who wrote the 1994 crime bill. This is on you. And you broke law. I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing. Could it be trumped up charges? Absolutely. This could just be some political bullshit by the Russians, undoubtedly. However, there's also a good chance that she brought weed into Russia. There's a risk with that. I don't know why people act surprised when that happens. That some places have different rules than where you're coming from. And if you are a extraordinarily tall black woman going through the Moscow airport, you might actually attract the attention of security in a place like Russia. I know that's extreme. This is, again, not a justification for what Russia has done. But it's just a reality. It's simply a reality. And it's funny, they blame it because, if she were a black woman, if she were LeBron James and not a gay black woman, then she'd be out. Well, whose fault is that? There's Joe Biden, who's in charge. There's the liberal sports media. ESPN dominates sports media. So all the social pressures are on you. It's on your team. It's on Joe Biden. It's on ESPN. It's on the Phoenix Mercury. It's on all these people who have lots and lots of thoughts about America's injustices, and they will justify riots, they will justify murder if it helps their cause, and they've been radio silent on Brittany Griner. We went from #FreeBritney about a bipolar bitch who just wanted to manage her own fucking finances, but the same momentum never went to Brittany Griner. And why is that? Is it because she's gay and black? No. In fact, that has all the trappings for there to be more motivation in this day and age. And if you don't think that, you're naive or you're lying. This is on Joe Biden. Do you think Donald Trump would have allowed this? First off, I don't think that Russia invades Ukraine if Donald Trump is president. Let's be clear. I don't think that the invasion happens. But Donald Trump got ASAP Rocky out, right? He got that other dude out, fucking Super Gremlin or whatever the hell his name is. Trump had no problem trying to rescue people, Americans incarcerated overseas. Joe Biden seems to have zero interest. Trump would have been firing off tweets. He would have been on Twitter fucking talking shit to Putin. He'd probably be going, you know what? I will send more weapons to Ukraine if you don't let Americans out. I'm going to double the billions. And that's not right. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying he would have used the office to get her out because it would have, well, maybe it's selfishly, it's a win for him, right? But he also, I think I think Trump is an actual patriot. And I think he's one of those guys that's like, if you fuck with Americans, you're fucking with me. I think that's his attitude. That's how he exhibited himself his entire presidency. And you guys spent fucking 4 years calling him a racist and a piece of shit and a homophobe. And now you get the guy who checks all the fucking boxes for you and he can't do shit. Well, who's that on? Who's that on? And yeah, she should be freed. It's bullshit. No one should be arrested for marijuana. Obviously. And if you think otherwise, fuck you, suck my cock. You're not smart. You're actually a bad person. You are a bad person if you want to imprison people for a relatively harmless drug. Oh, Evan, it's not harmless because I read an article. No, fuck you. You're speaking from ignorance. And even if it were harmful, it's harmful only to yourself. It's not harmful to others. So, in America, supposedly the land of the free, that is our value, that you're free to have choice to do the things that only harm you. You can't force people into your harm, but you can harm yourself. It's part of being an American. And quite frankly, I'm of the belief that as an American, that the one purpose of the government is really foreign policy. And that includes if an American gets arrested in Mexico, we tell Mexico, fuck off. You get him back here in one piece or you're in deep fucking shit. But they don't do this. This happened to that guy and that Marine who went down to Mexico. He made a wrong turn in San Diego and they went down there and he had a gun and they fucking arrested him and they let him rot in prison. And Obama didn't do fucking shit. This is what they do. Because one, they hate America, and two, you're not their priority. Brittany Griner could have donated her entire salary to the Democratic Party. They don't fucking care. Yeah, LeBron would have been out because he's worth more. You're a WNBA player and you make jack shit. And no one knows who you are. So maybe you shouldn't have put all your stock in the fucking Democratic Party. Maybe there's your fucking lesson. Next time you're writing a fucking letter, maybe you should say, hey, I'm not going to vote for you in 2024 if I can't get out of prison. I mean, just the notion, these fucking... And I don't know, there's this other story. She had a scheduled call with her wife, and she never was able to make the call because the U.S. Embassy didn't connect them. They didn't have someone to connect them. I mean, this is Joe Biden's government, people. Do you think this happens under Trump? Would you think this would happen under Desantis? I mean, seriously, think about that. Would a Republican, say what you will about him, they fucking take care of that kind of shit because it's a win for them. They want to be, I mean, you don't have to be all, Republicans are good. You could see them as selfish actors, as selfish pieces of shit. And they still will do that thing because it benefits them. They want to have that fucking moment where they come in and go, look, I got ASAP Rocky out of prison in Switzerland or whatever. I'm a fucking hero. They want that victory. Joe Biden doesn't care. Joe Biden doesn't know where the fuck he is, so that's irrelevant. The party doesn't care. Obama didn't care. They don't care. But this is what people wanted. They wanted normalcy. They wanted things to go back to normal. Yeah, good fucking job. Finally, I don't mean to go as long as I have. I am sorry about that. I assume you've all tuned out by now. But this is a more personal note. I'm not really sure how to address this because it makes me angry. But I found out on social media, on Instagram, that a relative of mine got a vasectomy. And he didn't explicitly say that this was because of Roe v. Wade, but I can read between the lines. And I had to laugh because he published it. And he wrote a whole paragraph. He had a selfie in the doctor's office. And it was so, I'm not often shocked anymore. I could read a news story about some horrific thing and it just, it's just bad, but it is what it is. But this one I was in shock because I thought, wow, you will do whatever they want you to do. You're having a surgery because society has told you that men should now get vasectomies because abortion is not going to be the law of the land anymore. Now, he lives in a state where abortion shall be plentiful. He lives in a state that simply stopped counting how many abortions they do every year and is now going to be flying people in from other states and subsidizing their abortions. But he just, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. So I was in shock. I was in shock because, it's bad enough that everybody got the jab. And again, I don't blame people for getting it. I blame people for trying to impose it on other people. And I kind of judge people who just went right in on it and have zero questions about this basically untested drug they just shot up in their body for pretty dumbass reasons. But to get the vasectomy, it's just it's drastic, I would say. But he and his wife have decided they don't want to have kids. And, all right. But the thing is that I could have gone my whole life without knowing that, or maybe finding out the next time I saw him and we had a conversation. But he decided to post the selfie, post it online, and get social media clout for our family and our friends and acquaintances to find out right along with us. And I don't know what to make of that. So, even though he published it, I don't, at least at this point, plan on disclosing who it was in my family. If you know me, you wouldn't be surprised. You might even know who I'm talking about. But I will say it deeply hurt my mother. And the truth is that I know he did it to hurt her. So on that note, progressivism is brain rot. It is undoubtedly the worst disease you can contract is to be a progressive, because there's nothing you won't do to signal that you're one of the good guys, no matter how evil or mutilating or wrong it is. Everybody has a choice in life. We have multiple choices. God willing, you live long enough to keep making choices. And nobody hits for 1,000. Everybody fucks up. But I would encourage you that if you find yourself steeped in an ideology that requires you to permanently alter your body, I think you need to find a new ideology. And I think you need to look at that and say, this is unhealthy. And all the feminists, if there's any of you listening out there, 1, fuck you. 2, you can have all these retarded arguments, and I've heard them about, oh, well, if we can't get abortions, then men need to get snipped. I mean, like, condoms don't exist. Like, the pull-out game don't exist. Like, I don't know, not having sex while you're ovulating. Maybe doing oral instead. I know that's impossible for some people. Because the myth of feminism is that the almighty orgasm is the only thing that matters for your happiness. And let me tell you, as someone who's had a lot of orgasms, it's not. It's fleeting. And that emptiness you feel inside is because you fucked the wrong person. And you can take that how you want, but you know it to be true. And this is not an argument for monogamy. This isn't an argument against premarital sex. This is an argument that everything that they tell you is a lie. They are lying to you constantly. They tell you these things because it is fundamentally based on lies. And people who lie to you, what they'll do is they'll tell you things that are not only untrue, they'll tell you things that harm you, like you should never have kids because we are overpopulated. That's not true. In fact, America is going to be underpopulated in the coming years because enough people bought the lie. Stop letting ideology dictate your decisions. The people who purvey these ideologies do not care about you. You are nothing more than a number to them, and you could die for all they care. I had a professor who went on about she went on to tell all the women in our class don't have kids because of overpopulation, the climate, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, you fuck off. First off, she's a lesbian, so she doesn't have any right to say that. You're attracted to women. You're a fucking hero. Good for you. But you're going to have that student pass through your class and you're going to tell them all this crazy shit, and you will never, ever, ever have to reap the consequences for that. But that person will. If they listen to you, that person does. And then one day they're in their 50s and they sat there and they went, I spent my whole life working for some bullshit job, paying the rent and occasionally taking trips, and I'm fucking miserable because I led a life that had essentially zero meaning. And you only have one life to live. Any ideology that requires you to get a surgery, to take a fucking shot, any ideology that doesn't let people be who they are should be tossed out the window. Thank you for listening to the Seventh Heaven podcast. I'm your host, Evan Myers. Follow me on Twitter at Seventh Heaven. Give us a like, a share, a comment. Enjoy the rest of your week. And thank God my sperm still works.